What's going on, guys? I know it's been a bit of time again. A couple of things is that I changed my setup again. I know originally I had the basement with the whole open space, and I decided to try out something new and do a video in my room. So I don't know how this looks, and I don't know how this is going to turn out. What I wanted to talk about is something that we can all relate to, and that's the idea of comparing yourself to others. I know that comparing yourself is something that we easily do, and it can also leave us feeling like in a really negative mind space. And I think there's a solution to that, and it's a lot easier than you think it is, but I think this video will help you realize how you can get out of that comparison trap. And even myself, I've been through it many times, and not just one time in my career, but completely overall. I've had different periods where I felt like I can't do this, and I took a break, and I still felt the same way, because comparing yourself is only going to leave you in a negative space. So when I first started out, I knew that comparing myself wasn't the most ideal situation. I was making my first video, and the only initial response was to look at other people who were creating amazing stuff. And the biggest thing from that takeaway is just putting it out. I know a lot of video creators who have this fear as well of just, oh, well, what if the numbers aren't there? What if the likes aren't there? The thing is when you compare yourself to people like that, you don't see how long it took them to get to that point. You don't see the process. And if anything, you're in the process right now. And I feel like the biggest thing between that is just putting out stuff, whether if you like it or not. Because if you're always worried about what people are going to think, you're always going to feel like what you create is never good enough. And that leads me to the next point, is creating stuff that comes from within and that is only for you, because creating has an intention. Not only that, but your ideas won't be original. If you follow the trends all the time and you don't create something that you want to create, you'll never stand out in anything in life, you know? So I think it's really important to create your own path and success and figure out, how can I do this and how can I do this the way that I like to? When you always strive for better, you tend to look at other people's lives. And that's the same thing with people of social media in general, is that we're always often looking into others' lives, figuring out, well, how can I become like them? Or how come they have the nice car? Or how come they're on vacation while I'm in my room studying, editing, and working, you know? But I think the biggest thing is that you can't just let those things get to your head, because the more that you tend to do that, the less that you can be focused on what you really want to do. That reminds me of when I made my first video. I knew it was terrible. I would probably even say that it was probably like the worst video I've ever made. And I didn't know what to do, you know? Like, I was seeing people do all these awesome things that I wanted to do. And I think the biggest thing with that is when you start off small and you accept the fact that the only way you're going to get better is by repeatedly doing this certain type of task, you're only going to continue to grow at an exponential rate. And I know that sounds kind of cheesy, you know, but kind of like that quote that people always say is that when you are growing at 1% every day, rather than trying to go viral or blow up out of nowhere, you're more likely going to stay for the long run, and you're going to understand what it's like to work hard, and you'll probably deal with situations that are going to be really challenging when you're older as well, a lot smoother than someone who's never gone through that kind of issue. So yes, it may not be what you want to hear, that it's going to take a long time to be content with what you have, but I think the sooner you can learn how to do that and trust what you're doing and where you're at is the perfect point, the more happier you're going to be, and the more likely you're going to gain confidence to do what you need to do in order to become the best version of yourself. So I guess if you continue to put in the good work and you just believe that you'll get to where you need to in someday or at some point, and you can enjoy that whole process, I think for sure you'll eventually be happier with who you are. And that's when you start to realize that comparing yourself doesn't do anything for you. If anything, it'll derail you from your dreams, your progress, and all things like that. So I know this was a short video, but I hope that you learned something from this, and that I hope that you can take this advice and continue to get through what I like to call like a hard time. But if you stayed through the whole video, appreciate you, and I'll see you next time.